All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets on this Wednesday, guys, and it's a pretty awesome day today because we are getting a lot of promo codes that are going on and discounts that are going on Underdog, on PrizePicks. Again, guys, it is a great time to take advantage of those promo codes and the discounts that are out there during the holidays. They want you to play because, well, you have a little bit more time on your hand. You're more likely to participate then. So honestly, take advantage of those. We'll touch on those promos and discounts that are available. Quick recap from yesterday, guys. Solid day overall, 3 for 5 on the day. The tacos ended up doing pretty well as well. So hopefully you guys were able to use those picks and be able to profit. And again, that's going to be the strategy that we're going to deploy today with the discount that's available on PrizePicks. We'll begin into some college basketball bets as well as breaking down the NBA slate that we have today, and then giving you guys a PrizePicks and Underdog slate for today. So first and foremost, I want to call it that right now Underdog has this Feast Week 50% deposit match, max $50. So if you deposit this, guys, you'll get $75 basically, or $25 back, which is awesome. I mean, a free $25 just for depositing $50. Something that you guys would typically spend on there. That is awesome. And I do want to call out, I have updated the 9 to 5 promo code to match what it is. So you guys can do it'll be a $50 deposit match up to $2,000. So if you deposit $2,000 when you use the promo code, the 925 spelled out, you'll get $1K back. And if you guys ever wonder, it's little things like that that honestly can make you a profitable bettor, is taking advantage of codes like that and really the free squares that are out there. I want to reiterate that is massive. And that's something I do with Sleeper, guys. I don't have a Sleeper promo code for you guys or anything like that, but take advantage of these Sleeper picks. I've been able to make over $1,000 on Sleeper just based off of their deposit match and all their free picks and discounts that they give out over the past year. They're basically begging you guys to make a profit on them. So take advantage of that. I only place bets on Sleeper when there is a discount available. And I want to call it, we do have the Tyreek Hill free square available on PrizePicks still. And then they are giving us the Jokic discount here as well, 24.5 points off of his original line of 28.5. Again, guys, take advantage of this. In the long term, going to be beneficial. And you guys know me by now, I would assume, unless you guys are new. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to give a like and subscribe. Even if you're not new, make sure to give a like to the channel. I'm trying to get to 100 likes per video. That does help out the channel a lot. Anyways, you know, I hate telling you guys to like do the deposit matches and whatnot, or like spend money that you maybe typically haven't budgeted for. But this is a time in a week in which it should be beneficial to you guys. It's going to be difficult to lose money, especially when you guys are using the good bets that we have. And so I do want to get into some of those good bets that we have right off the top, and then we'll get into the NBA breakdown here for you guys. So looking at, guys, we have one really good college basketball bet, Tyrese Hunter for under his fantasy score, 57% likelihood. And what I like is that the projection data and the average sportsbook line are both right in par with this bet. And if we look at it with Hunter, we can see he has been a little bit hit or miss in terms of getting this over. I do want to call out that obviously this is going to be a more difficult matchup going against Auburn. He did struggle somewhat against Michigan State. UConn was able to get the over there barely. Well, I shouldn't say barely. He was able to get it over there. Mostly just trusting the data there. Let's go ahead and get into another one. We got VJ for over his fantasy score of 32.5. This is more popping up because of the prop line difference between how Vegas sees this going and how PrizePicks sees this game going. And as we see, he's been someone that has been able to consistently kind of get this over thus far this season. 4 for 5 on the year. Kind of love that there with VJ from Baylor. And we have a couple more from college basketball. I do want to, let's filter by college basketball here. So we got Ryan Nembhard to get over his rebounds and assists. We'll do that one. I noticed that his rebounds actually got bumped to 8 from 7.5. And at the same time, we're going to see that his rebounds and assists has not been bumped. So if he gets 8 assists like he's projected to get and his rebounds line is at 3.5, then yes, this should be a good EV bet for us today. So that's a nice one that we have on the slate today. Another one, PJ Haggerty to get under his fantasy score. This is an interesting one. Now, this is one where, you know, if we're betting the other one, that first one, Hunter for under his fantasy score, we're probably betting this one as well with Haggerty. More or less just betting on this being a more difficult matchup here against Auburn. So, like, I think both of those do go hand in hand. Continuing on, guys, we are getting so many good bets in college basketball today. It's surprising for Wednesday to get as many good bets as we have. Obviously, the day before Thanksgiving, there's a lot more going on today, but pretty awesome. Ace Bailey to get over 1.5 turnovers. That's a solid one. Dylan Mitchell to get under his fantasy score. That's another solid one. Gilbert to get over his fantasy scores, another one that's popping up. And I do just want to give a quick shout out to Dylan Harper for crushing his over fantasy score yesterday for us. Had a lot on him yesterday, and it was nice to see him hit. All right, guys, so now with that, let's go ahead and jump on into the NBA today. The best prop bet that we have today is going to be Eamon Thompson to get under his fantasy score going against Philly. And that's really my biggest concern with this bet is really the matchup with Philly, because it should be kind of an easier matchup. Philly is so banged up right now, guys. Paul George out, Embiid is out. McCain's playing well for them. Maxi's a little bit hit or miss, but Philly's been a team that has been getting blown out a bunch. And so it's in terms of knowing how many minutes we know that we're going to get out of a player, I think that's higher variance. And so if the minutes are going to be variable tonight, I think that's going to be more difficult for us to be able to project on a night-to-night basis that he's going to be able to get this under. And if we look at it, guys, the last couple of games, he's really been crushing this over. And so it's definitely an interesting line that's popping up to me. Now, I do want to point out two things. One, this game did go into OT last night. And a second thing is that Jalen Green just hasn't been playing well. This was the bet that we ended up hitting last night as well. So we had 2 college basketball prop bets hit. And then we had this under NBA fantasy score hit for us as well. He's been struggling, and so it makes sense why Eamon Thompson would be someone that has kind of picked up the load for him lately. We see 38 minutes last night. Again, OT game. He could be someone that because that game went to OT last night and because Jalen Green didn't get many minutes, we could see Eamon Thompson actually see less minutes in this game. It's always difficult to know what's exactly going to happen on the back end of the back-to-back, but I'm sure that's what Vegas is seeing here, and I want to call this out as well. Jalen Green's fantasy score is then favorited for the over tonight of 27. And I would say that those go hand in hand. So if you guys are on par with Eamon Thompson not getting his over fantasy score and Jalen Green getting his over fantasy score, obviously pair those two together. That's a good stack that we can run out. That's a correlated stack that we can run out as well. And the nice thing about that, guys, is it's not like NFL where they'd be discounting a correlated stack. Your payout is going to be the full payout. And then let's go ahead and continue on with the NBA bets that we are getting. Brandon Miller, 53.7% likelihood for him to get under 9.5 rebounds and assists. Jimmy Butler on the back end of back-to-back. Shout out to my Bucks. AJ Green, you clutch guy, you. he hit 2 clutch threes at the end of the game for the Bucks to win. All that chatter about the Bucks is seemingly gone. One of the highest teams in the NBA. Pretty awesome there. Anyways, Jimmy Butler under 5.5 rebounds, okay bet. Josh Green to get under his fantasy score, that's an okay bet. It's crazy how many of these fantasy scores on these low lines that we have been getting thus far this year, because like a player can get 2 blocks or something like that and already be at 6 points, already be at like a third of their fantasy score, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know. I've been trying to stay away from bets like that, but it's certainly interesting. Projection data likes the over there. But let's go ahead and get into some of the bets that I like the most here, guys. And guys, I want to go ahead and get into Desmond Bane. I actually really like his over rebounds. Now, this is a bet that's not available on PrizePicks, but it is available on Underdog. And you can get it at 0.92x. Again, not exactly a bet that I typically like to call to people. Really not a good long-term profitable approach, but it is a solid bet. You look at his per 36 production with Ja Morant off the court, with Zach Edey off the court. Again, Memphis is a team that's always thin. And so you look at his production with those players off the court, he averages 8 rebounds per 36. And the nice thing about this matchup here is kind of going back to it. It's a matchup that should stay close. And if it does, he should easily be able to get that over rebounds. And I kind of like the matchup here as well, going against Detroit. And on the flip side of that, guys, with Detroit, there are some other bets that I like here as well for Detroit. One of those is looking at Jaden Ivey, with Cade Cunningham off the court, has a massive usage rate of 32%, averages 43 fantasy points per 36. With Cade Cunningham off the court, he actually averages 24.7 points per 36 with Cade Cunningham off the court. And if we're going to be betting on Bane to get his over, potentially rebounds, you could also do his assists. I don't hate that. But if we're doing that, I like the idea of stacking it with Jaden Ivey to get over 21.5 points as well. And again, with him, with Detroit and with Memphis, we just need to be banking on the minutes. I know Memphis spreads out their minutes a bunch, but Detroit should be pretty concentrated with their minutes in a game that stays close. And that's the bet here, is that the game stays close. So I like Jaden Ivey to get over his points there as well. Then another spot that I want to call it, we're currently not getting any bets here for Brooklyn, and we will. At least I would assume that we will. And the reason why we're not getting the lines yet is because Cameron Johnson's still a little bit questionable. Nick Claxton's still a little bit questionable. Finney Smith's still a little bit questionable as well. But one player that significantly benefits just with Cam Thomas off the court is Dennis Schroeder. And this is something I've touched on a decent amount already this year. You look at his per 36 production with Cam Thomas off the court. He averages 22.5 points, so 4.5 more points. Rebounds doesn't go up too much, only goes up by 0.4, but the assists go up by almost 4 as well. And so we're looking at just a lot more production, a lot more usage. The usage rate with Cam Thomas off the court is 28%, averages 43 fantasy points per 36. And we already know that the minutes are there for him. Maybe this game against Phoenix being healthy, KD back, maybe we worry about that a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that as it sits right now. Now, maybe if we get news that all these players are out, Cam Johnson's out, and then looking at like Nick Claxton, Finney Smith, if those three players are all out, yeah, it definitely increases the likelihood for it to be a blowout. But I just don't think they're going to properly value Dennis Schroeder because they haven't done it thus far this year. It's been a nice soft spot for us thus far. So I think that's the spot where we could be getting some value. And don't be surprised if Ben Simmons actually gets more work as well. I would assume that's part of the reason as to why some of the lines are not out yet, because he is someone that if Claxton is out, if Finney Smith is out, he's going to get some work probably at the 5 a little bit, maybe a little bit positionless basketball, but he's someone that would greatly benefit as well, mostly in the rebounds, but just in his usage as well. So I think those are two spots that should be pretty awesome for us as well. And so, guys, that kind of does it for the NBA. I do want to call just some quick NFL bets that are popping up. Tim Patrick to get under his fantasy score. I like that. It's pretty solid. His role has definitely been reduced lately, so I could see that happening and see that hitting. Jaden Reed for under his fantasy score. I kind of mentioned this on the Thanksgiving Day slate breakdown that I already put out for you guys. Take it. Guys, check that out. I think we are still getting some pretty good edges there. But the issue with the Packers is that the production does get a little bit spread out there. So, a little bit worrisome there, but still not a bad bet. And then, hey, look at it. Dylan Harper now popping up in here. I've been doing this video for a little bit of time now. We got Xavier Wortley for over 2.5 receptions. Just so many decent bets going on today, guys. It kind of feels like a Friday on a Wednesday. It basically is. And that's probably why we're getting so many great bets. So take advantage of those bets. Do want to call it the 95 promo code, guys. Great time to take advantage of the 95 promo code. Just make more educated bets, and you guys can take advantage of that promo code. This promo code, keep cashing at 20% off your first 95 membership, or if you guys are a returning member as well, get you access to all the cheat sheet tools so you guys can be able to make your best bets possible. And speaking of the best bets possible, let's take a peek at what is the top pick 6 bet as it sits right now, guys. This is available on the 95 cheat sheet. So when you're in the 95 cheat sheet, if you click on the bet slips, this will give you guys the bet slips that you could put out based off of the top 6 bets for the day as it sits right now. And so we're looking at Tyrese Hunter for under his fantasy score, VJ for over his fantasy score, Ryan Nembhard for over 11.5 rebounds and assists, Eamon Thompson for over or under his fantasy score at 27.5. Again, I think that fits very well with Jalen Green to get under his fantasy score. And then PJ Haggerty to get under his fantasy score. That's a solid one. And then we got Ace Bailey for over 1.5 turnovers. I'm perfectly fine with that, guys. I think this is actually a solid bet for the bet of the day. This is basically what I'm running out. I'll show you guys what my bet of the day is on PrizePicks. And again, guys, the thought process with this bet slip is going to be the fact that we are going to be running this out with the discount. So if you guys get the full $25 for the discount, just bet them 5 times individually. Whatever you guys feel are the top 5 bets, bet those 5 times individually, okay? If you guys are getting capped, I know a lot of people are getting capped at $5 or $10. I saw a lot of green screens coming in from the 95 Discord chat, coming in with $10 only because they're capped at $10, being able to cash still, which was nice, but awesome to see. But it's tough for me to specifically say what you guys should do on Taco Tuesday or whenever we get discounts now because of that. So I just like to reiterate that process. And the only difference between this slip and the other one was I do like Wendell Robinson to get over 7.5 for his fantasy score. Apparently, Tommy DeVito didn't practice today. And so that I think that would actually help Wendell Robinson if Drew Lock's the quarterback. Tommy DeVito just not that good. And so and Drew Lock's not good either, don't get me wrong, but I think that would help out Robinson slightly. That might be a slight increase in likelihood for this to hit. And then just in general, guys, these are my 4 favorite bets in the NBA today, regardless of like EV that we're gaining. Obviously, we always like to go with the bets that have the highest percent likely to hit. But if you guys are someone that maybe doesn't bet on PrizePicks or Underdog that much, or maybe you want to bet one of these on Sleeper with all those discounts that are available, that's the way you can go about using this. I do like Desmond Bane to get over 5.5 rebounds. I think that's a solid bet. Malcolm Brogdon's an interesting one. I wanted to call this out because he is playing on the back end of the back-to-back. He could end up sitting, actually, because he's been someone that, over the past few years now has been injury prone. When he's healthy, he's a great basketball player. I would argue he's the best player on Washington, especially on a point per minute basis. Jordan Poole could potentially be out tonight as well, which would mean that Malcolm Brogdon would be in for another good spot there. he's good. Jane Ivey, I went with over his PRA for now. Again, you could do his points. I think that's a solid bet as well. Then I went with Brandon Clark for over 6.5 rebounds. Didn't like that particularly too much, but that was, again, just more of a bet on this game being close and him getting closer to 26 minutes or so, which he has been getting lately in games that have stayed close. And if he gets that, you should be able to get that over. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, make sure to give a like to the channel, subscribe as well. Lots of great bets today. Lots of great bets. Again, take advantage of the discounts that are out there, guys. It's honestly a huge key to being a profitable bettor when it comes to prop betting. All right, guys, that's going to be all. Head on over to 95sports.com if you guys want access to those tools. Good luck with all your bets today and tomorrow. And as always, let's keep cashing.